Okay, so patch notes time. Everybody hold on to your cheeks. I do not know what these patch notes are. All right, guys, we're cooking. Hang on. Oh no, it's happening. Okay, so again, I love patch notes. I have no information as to this. I always avoid any spoilers that I possibly can about patch notes. I want to go in full line. Swapping your hero hides your selection on the enemy's scoreboard for 15 seconds. So this is kind of more of a meme thing than anything else. This generally doesn't happen that often, but the whole swap. This one is going to take some testing. This is going to take some testing, to say the least, because this is a big deal. Like, this is a really big deal. The ramifications of this are probably something that I don't think anyone can really immediately predict. One potential thing is that you could counter swap somebody and they wouldn't even know it for 15 seconds. So there is that. You get what I'm saying? So, like, legitimately, like, you wouldn't know if they counter swapped you for 15 seconds. So this is a little bit of, I don't know. This is a risky move, to say the least. Let's put it this way. This change is going to be one of two things. Either we're going to be like, oh my gosh, why has this not been a thing sooner? Either way, regardless of how this is done, this is going to be one of those changes where we go, oh my gosh, why has this not been implemented sooner? Or it's going to be one of those changes where we go, oh my gosh, why was this implemented? And it will probably be undone. You know, we've seen things like this before that just, you know, okay, it's bad, it gets reverted, it happens. Like, whether it's either scaled back or just removed entirely. So I'm not really concerned if it does suck, but it's going to be a wild week or two, right, as we try this out. Yeah. I guess we'll have to just wait and see. Mauga, Incendiary Chain Gun. We saw this with the other thing. Ignition damage increased from 3 to 4 seconds. Increases the damage of Mauga's burn effect. Will help better reward going from the smaller, harder to hit targets. This is a Mauga buff, but it does not affect the tank matchup, like, at all. Like, almost literally at all. Like, to an unbelievable minor degree. But it will make his matchups versus squishies. Like, gives you more reward for actually shooting squishies, because it allows you to maintain pressure on squishies for a longer period of time. It's fine. Good change. Long term, this is a fine change. Obviously, we're always a little bit hesitant about any buff to Mauga that isn't compensated by another nerf, but I think we'll have to kind of like let this cook. We'll see. If you're going to buff Mauga, this would be the way to do it. Ramattra, Pummel no longer pierces barriers, now deals 2.5 more damage to barriers. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Some of these things, this is why I wanted to stop reading the director's take. But yeah, I mean, this is fine. This gives more like counterplay for characters with shields versus Ramattra, who Ramattra does very well. Everyone's like, oh, Ryan, but this is also good for Brigitte. Because this basically means that, wait, does Brig's shield break in one punch? Am I going crazy? Or 2 punches? I mean, but which is like your shield breaks, but at least you get a chance to live, right? So I don't know if that, but the big thing here is also Sigma as well. Man, I don't know. This is tricky. Like, it's a lot of damage to barriers. It's a lot of damage to barriers. Makes Ramattra better versus Brig. You could be right. Yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, but yeah, it definitely gives more choice for Rein. I think this is a buff to Rein. Overall, probably a buff to Rein. You know, chat, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, okay, hot spicy take. How much damage does Pummel do? 70, 80, 65. So half of 65 is 32.5. That's 130. Yeah, see, guys, it's not a one shot in a Brig shield. You guys are gaslighting me. So it's like 160. That's a pretty decent amount of shield damage. I would say that it's probably a Rein buff. It does allow for some counterplay. But yeah, the tricky thing is a lot of times of how Rein played versus Ram is you just kind of held your shield and hoped that your team would shoot the Ram. Because you could block not the Ram punches, but all the follow-up. But now, I think probably a Rein buff. Health reduced on Rein shield, that's fine. I mean, I think that buffing his shield in the first place was a mistake out of all the other things that they could have done, but it's relatively fine, sure. Damage, Hanzo, base health increased. We are reverting Hanzo back to his previous health. Now it's possible to take opposing Hanzo with a volume headshot against a weapon damage chance. Okay, sure. I mean, Hanzo's cheeks, guys. Like, I don't love the whole Hanzo thing. Hanzo's just, like, actually cheeks right now. Like, he's just actually terrible. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I'm so on the fence with Hanzo. Like, people hate Hanzo. I understand why. Sojourn Railgun. Let's scroll down to this one. Energy no longer stops degenerating at 25 energy. It's fine, so you don't keep 25 energy. I think that change was probably not necessary, especially with how easy it is now. Time before energy degeneration increased from 7 to 12 seconds. That's a lot. This is a buff. I think it's a buff. Because this is basically entering the fight at 25 energy is not that useful, but having an extra 5 seconds between damage This feels like a minor buff here. It feels like you almost never lose your energy unless it's literally between fights, you know? Disruptor shot. Damage per second increased from 60 to 80. Ooh, now generates 25% of damage done to enemy players as railgun energy. I think this is kind of a cool change. I don't know if the DPS needed to go up, and certainly not by this much. So these are big Sojourn buffs. These are big Sojourn buffs. I would have preferred if they... I still waiting for the day for them to be able to weave primary fire and rail faster. Right now it just takes so freaking long between shooting the rail and primary fire again. I wish to goodness that they would do that before they even did anything crazy with this. But I would prefer... I don't like the damage per second increase. I think 60 damage per second is still enough. It's still decent damage. I think this here is like interesting. I don't know. I'm kind of... Sojourn changes are kind of hit or miss. I'm not as big of a fan of them, frankly. I would say they're not bad. I'd say it's overall maybe a positive, but I'm leaning more towards neutral change. Yeah, you might be right, BR Talk. Making some change to how long it takes to shoot Disruptor Shot, how her kit flows. I agree. Changes along those lines are adjustments along those lines. The raw numbers I don't think need to go up. I don't like this change as much. Sombra hack. Okay, Sombra boys, here we go. Oh, wow, there's a lot of Sombra stuff here. Hack no longer in stealth, but does reveal Sombra. So it reveals Sombra, but keeps her in stealth, so that she's allowed to actually go for pressure. Basically, she's allowed to, okay, you can see me, I'm hacking you, but I'm not immediately putting stealth on cooldown. It's a bit of a quality of life change. Hacked ability lockout defect duration reduced from 1.5 to 1 seconds. EMP duration unchanged. Okay. So the lockout duration is reduced. I mean, guys, I hate hack. I think hack is maybe the worst cooldown in the entire game. I'm like up there. Like it's got to be one of the worst. Top 3 or 4 for sure. So it's just dumb. Fine. Sure. Great. Love it. Sombra is such a tricky bag for me. Bob hack stun duration reduced from 10 to 3 seconds. That's amazing change. Thank you. Maybe 3 is a little too short, but honestly, Bob hack was just so dumb. You literally shut down the ultimate with a cooldown that you didn't even have to aim. And even sleep dart was significantly less effective. Good. Stealth, no longer passive, and now activates by using translocator. Oh man, dude, this is something. Okay, so this is something, again, I can just tell you right now, I'm not going to be able to give you my opinion on this right now. I'm going to give you my initial take, but this is going to be extensive enough to where you're going to have to test this stuff. I don't think anybody's smart enough to know this crap. You need to go out, you're going to have to go play it out. So we need, yeah, exactly 6. This is like another rework. Now has a 5-second duration. Whoa, that's really low. Wow, that's really low. That is way lower than I thought. I was expecting like 10, 5 seconds. Added stealth timer around the reticle and removed ability icon. Taking damage now reveals someone for 1 second instead of ending stealth. Okay, so it's kind of like the hack thing. Cooldown increase from 5 to 7 seconds. Ooh. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, what's the point of having a stealth duration if you just have permanent translocator? Ultimate cost increased. You know, what's interesting is I'm curious if they end up increasing her health pool if they end up putting all this through. Because if there's more risk, I'm curious. Opportunist passive has been added back in. Increases Sombra's weapon damage versus hack targets by 20%. I kind of wish they would add that back in. I've been because it gave more reason to hack besides just, you know, does more virus damage. I don't know. They're cooking. That's all I'm gonna say. They're cooking. Now that might be both bad or good, but I'm sorry, guys. Okay, can we time out really quick? I'm willing to play devil's advocate for these changes because you know what, you guys. Sombra freaking sucks. The character doesn't work. The rework is better in terms of there's more risk for your reward. The translocator change was overall a good change, but I don't know what they were smoking back in 2016. But the idea of a hacking stealth character that removes your abilities, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. So you know what? You might as well cook because the freaking food sucks anyway. You got dollar store Chinese food, so you might as well set it on fire because maybe it'll smell good. You know what I'm saying? So everyone's like, oh, this is bad. Frick you! Sombra sucks! You might as well give it a shot. It's the same thing with Roadhog. It's the same thing with Widowmaker. Try it out. You might as well. You got nothing to lose. You've got nothing to lose. So just try it. Maybe it makes the hack. Maybe like it's more interactive and more interesting. I don't give a frick. And honestly, if you guys are sitting here reading the patch notes and saying this thing sucks, you're dumb. This is way too extensive of changes. You need to go test these things. I don't think, like, this is gonna, like, fundamentally change how, like, Sombra's positioning and spawn camping and reward and risk and even how virus is used and stuff. I think with this extensive of change, you really just have to go try it out. So first off, number one, it's a broke clock. So you might as well try and fix it with a sledgehammer. You got nothing to lose. And number two, we don't know exactly how it's going to be implemented. Well, I know you, Poop Kid, don't like it. But you also liked version 1 of Sombra, which was the worst. So I like, it is a, yeah. Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Nobody's smart enough to know this. You have to go play it out. And we obviously can't play it out right now. Support, Baptiste launcher, primary fire, let's just do this a little bit. Primary fire recoil reduced. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big buff, actually. Not a huge buff, but this is going to make it a little bit easier to aim with that. Brigitte, repair pack, cooldown increased. I don't like this change. I don't like this change. Hey, chat, what did Brig need? What change did Brig need? What change did Brig need? Tell me, what's the change? Somebody knows, right? Somebody knows. What's the change that Brig needed? Shield bash done? Nah, maybe. Come on. Come on. Yes. Jason 2. Yes. Burst, heal, and packs. You do not need to increase the cooldown. You need to reduce the burst off of the armor pack. That's it. Burst pack is a little strong. You need to nerf that. I'm obviously being a little bit facetious here. I'm sure there's a lot of little ideas that you guys have that are actually pretty good for Brig. And I'm not saying that she's a perfect character besides that, but I think that overall, I think that's the thing that she needs. I don't like this. I don't like this. Juno, fall off range reduced from 30 to 50 to 25 to 35. That's pretty harsh, I think. I'm surprised. I really am surprised they didn't do an ult nerf, a minor ult nerf, but because it's still a little, it's not that the ult is like wildly OP necessarily. It's still a bit, it's funny because like there's some things about the ult that don't feel good necessarily for the Juno either. But the heal nerf is fine. Heal nerf is fine. Fall off will be interesting. I hope they don't do too, I hope this isn't too punishing because I think having like the mid-range options with Juno was really good. Just maybe that she's not quite as good at like the longer ranges. Yeah, less ult charge. Yep. I mean, that's fine. Well, no, but I'm not talking about like the ult charge. I understand what you guys are saying. I don't want to flat out nerf to the concept of the ultimate. You know, I don't want, but Ana had that for years, you know, and it was, nobody cared. Different damage and healing numbers doesn't really affect things all that much. Capture time for defenders and objectives point B&D has been increased by 10% to give the attackers more opportunities to attack the point. So this is an attacker's advantage because it takes longer for the defenders to cap the point. So the point system remains. So they're basically keeping the point system the same, but changing a couple other things around the point system that motivates attackers to attack, allows attackers to attack more successfully, and or makes it harder for defenders to quickly cap B&D. Yes, I understand that completely. Good changes. Will it be enough? I don't know. But it is definitely, you guys cooked. Good step. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Well, easy reverse sweeps can be, I mean, this definitely does. This definitely deals with reverse sweeps.